Welcome to all of you. Today we are going to share information on managing stress and sustaining well-being in the corona period. Friends, let me tell you that the lecture is divided into five parts. The first one is the concept of behavior, so that we understand what exactly behavior is. Second, we are going to see about the concept of stress. What is stress? Third part of the lecture is how stress affects you physically, mentally, in your behavior, that we are going to see. Fourth part of the lecture is strategies to deal with stress. How can we manage stress? And the last and the fifth part we are going to see is role of teachers in counseling students for their effective performance. So let us start with the first part of the lecture, that is concept of behavior. But let me tell you friends, we are all going through a period which we have not experienced before. Never. And in this period there are a lot of changes taking place in all the sectors. In economic sector, business sector, professional life is changing, personal life is changing, your social life is being affected. And it is being seen that it is affecting us in all areas, in all sectors of your life. So to understand this, that if it is going to affect us, it is going to affect our behavior. So let us see the first part, that is concept of behavior, what exactly it is. Behavior is whatever we do. But let me tell you, there are three components in behavior. Whenever we behave, we don't even know that we are using all the three components of this behavior simultaneously. The first component of behavior is cognitive. Cognitive is related to thinking. We do a lot of thinking in one day, in 24 hours. Thinking includes various processes like learning, thinking, memory, problem solving, creative thinking, logical thinking, intuition. These all the thinking processes and more are there. These all come under thinking. Obviously we should think positively, but let me tell you, we should also think rationally. What is more rational and clear? Let me tell you an example of a lady, a housewife. A housewife came to a counselor complaining that her family members are not satisfied with her work. Her sons and daughters are complaining that she is not able to do her duties, responsibilities well. So she got frustrated and she came to a counselor. She had told all the story and all the complaints she's been getting from his husband, sons and daughters. She shared all the experiences with the counselor. The counselor gave her advice, suggested her to keep a checklist of whatever she does in a day, and like this for 1 week. Every day she has to fill up that checklist, what are the work she's done and what are the leftover work. So the lady went home, did it every day for 7 days, that is 1 week, and with all that filled checklist she came back to the counselor. The counselor studied it, analyzed it, and then he got surprisingly a very positive result. He saw that the lady, the housewife, did complete 85% of the work and the responsibilities what she has to do as a housewife. So he called her and told her that lady, you are doing quite good. 85% of the work you have been doing. So it's a good score. So no need to worry. be happy and be satisfied. And she told, no need to get frustrated, no need to get any kind of a stress because you are doing quite good. And he also told that the remaining 50% which you are not able to do, tell your family members to do it. The moment she shared the same suggestions with the family members were in shock. How to work the 15% which we have to do now, domestic work, which our mother was or our wife was going to used to do. From the next day itself, friends, there were no complaints, obviously, because they did not want to do any domestic work. So they avoided that. My point is, if you think rational, you can see that the lady was thinking from the point of view of the other person, from the husbands and sons and daughters' perspective. If you're thinking from your own perspective, then you think very rationally, then you see that the results are quite positive. So it's very important of role of thinking in our behavior. The second component of behavior is related to is cognitive. Cognitive is actions. In very simple language, the movements we do, the body language, the gestures we use. For example, swimming, running, or typing a letter, or writing a report. All the movements which we do using our body and body parts, physically we do it, that are actions. Let me tell you one more thing about actions. Actions are a very true, sincere followers of thinking. Whatever is thought, they follow the same thing. For example, if you want to go to a market for marketing, you obviously think before where to park the car, where to start marketing, where to end the marketing, and where to return from market to our house again. This you have thought. The actions are just following it. Therefore, it is very important that the actions do follow the thinking. Friends, the third component of behavior is emotions. Emotions, I call it as it comes free with thinking and with actions. They are so automatic that even we don't understand that when we are behaving, we are actually using our emotions. It can be seen on your face, through your eyes, through various movements on your face. It can be easily visible. So emotions have a great impact on our thinking also. Because if you are motivated and if you are satisfied, if you are happy, you can achieve laurels. You can even go to higher post. You can attain leadership. And you can do new things, new inventions, new discoveries you can do. If you are continuously motivated, encouraged, happy with the state you are in a good company. But friends, if you are in a company which is discouraging, a situation which is unmotivating, which is always pressurizing you, then you start seeing your weakness more in bold and in a huge fonts. You start seeing your weakness more instead of your strength. Therefore, in 1990, emotional intelligence got its importance. We are not going to share about emotional intelligence, but in short, I can say emotional intelligence is managing and controlling your emotions and others' emotions. If you can do that, then you can develop emotional intelligence. So we have seen three components of behavior. Cognitive, the second one is actions, that is cognitive, and third we have seen is emotions. Okay. Let us come to the second part of the lecture. Concept of stress. What is stress? When we lack some coping skill or some skill which are not matching with the situations, with the demand of the situation, then we get stress. Means if you are lacking a skill which you don't know as per the demands of the situation, then you may get stress. For example, if you have stage fear, if you lack confidence, if you lack the knowledge of how to go about on the stage and speak, then obviously before the speech, before your lecture, you will get stress. So if you lack something, if you're lacking your knowledge, if you're lacking something, then surely stress will be there. Let me tell you one more thing, friends. Stress is something like change. Change is unavoidable. And in the same way, stress also is going to come in your life, maybe every day, but we have to take it that it is a part and parcel of our life. So stress affects you in various ways. We are going to see that. It affects you physically, it affects you mentally, and it affects you on your behavioral part also. How does stress affect you physically? It does affect. Most of the people feel that, see or experience that it doesn't affect you physically, it affects you. Let me tell you some of the symptoms. It can disturb your sleep. Either you may get early or you may sleep late. In sleep disorders, you may have skin problems. You may have upset digestion process that we call as psychosomatic disorders. Your stress can affect your digestion process. It can affect your concentration. It can affect on your body indirectly through various parts. You can see sudden shivering, sudden sweating, sudden cold. These are the symptoms of stress. Stress affects you mentally also. Loss of concentration, focusing on very trivial and small issues, giving more importance to them. Fear, you may feel anxiety also. You may lose your self-esteem or self-respect. You may lose your confidence also. Mental effects are there. Third one, it affects your behavior also. In behavior, we can say that you can become rigid. Rigid, you don't become flexible, you become very rigid. You are very much not accepting any kind of change. Whatever I say, the same way you have to do it. Just follow my orders. Don't tell me to change. Such kind of, you develop an autocratic kind of a behavior like a Hitler. Whatever I say will be done. I will not accept any kind of change. Very rigid behavior. We should be flexible, but stress makes you more rigid. Behavioral effects are also seen on withdrawal. We withdraw from people. We withdraw from social situations. We withdraw from social discussions. We withdraw from people, from groups, from social gatherings. We start living alone, aloof. That is a sign, my friends, that if somebody is staying alone, then that is the sign that he is feeling some kind of a stress which he is not sharing with you. Withdrawal is the one of these. Third, which you can see behavioral changes, is aggression. Aggression increases. You start become angry on very trivial and small issues which normally you don't do. So aggression disturbs you more. And as you know, the first who is getting more affected by aggression is the person himself, physically also and mentally also. The person who is observing or the person who is seeing you is just listening, but more effect is on yourself. So stress behaviorally affects you, that the aggression increases and it start increasing, disturbing your personal and social life. Behavioral changes can also seen in life events. Life events, let me tell you, very small thing can spark up in a huge problem in your life. It can be a very trivial issue also, but still it can create a problem in that. Life events, for example, it can be a small thing for you, but if you see it from his perspective, you can see that even going to a particular place to visit a function may be stressful for him because he's going for the first time. Attending international seminar for the first time, doing the comparing first time can be very stressful for him. So these life events are very important for him. Let me tell you some general reasons also which can induce stress in you or affect stress. Divorce, becoming parent without knowing anything about parenting, pre and post marital, we don't have any kind of counseling, we just go straight away for parenting. These life events, change of house, you can say that whenever you get posted to some other place, new place, leaving your native place, staying away from your family, these are some of the incidents, life events which can make behavioral changes in you. We should also know where the stress is coming from, whether it is coming from inside or whether it is coming from outside. Means whether it is internal, related to you personally, or it is related to others apart from you, the situations or other people. If it is personal or it is coming from inside, it can be your thinking errors. Sometimes we overgeneralize things. Sometimes we overthink. Think more. We don't come to solutions. We go on thinking. We should give time to thinking, fine, but it should have certain limit. After that, we should come to a conclusion or to a particular solution. Overthinking. Overgeneralizing is something, it is like you start giving more importance to one incident and it will happen to all without any kind of scientific support. Unscientific thinking can also lead to stress inside. It can also be seen that apart from thinking errors and unscientific thinking, prejudice, which is unscientific thinking, can lead to stress. Your negative attitude, using more of your negative emotions, can lead to internal reasons of stresses coming from. Second, where it comes from is external. It can come from situations, it can come from people where you're working with, it can be your colleagues, it can be your neighbors, it can be your friends, it can be your immediate boss. It can come from there also. Let me tell you, it can even come from natural calamities. Heavy rain, the period which we are experiencing now, corona period, it can be external also. It can come from globalization also. It can come from online teaching I have to do, online learning I have to do, the things which are not done previously and I will try to learn. These are external situations, factors which affect stress, which may induce stress in you. But let me tell you, if it is internal, you can control it, you can manage it, you can avoid it. But if it is external, you can't control, you have to manage and try to avoid those things. So we have to see first whether the stress is internal or whether it is external. Let us come to the core part of this lecture, how to manage stress. Stress can be managed by various methods. I'm going to suggest some of them. The first one is fight. You have to put your efforts, all your experience to fight with the situation. Don't withdraw. Fight with the situation first. Let us see who has got more patience, more stamina and more perseverance. If you develop more perseverance, you are surely there to defeat stress. So it's very important to fight with stress. One more thing, it is more courageous attempt actually. But if you do it and it becomes an habit, then you know how to deal with it. Fight with the stress with all your efforts, all your experience and knowledge. whatever you have studied, seen, observed, try to fight with it. Give a good attempt to it. Fighting with stress. Second strategy we can use is avoid. Now, why we want to avoid? Because I think we are human beings, fine. We do learn, we do get educated, and we even go to higher post also. But we are not superhuman beings. We cannot solve all the problems. We can solve most of the problems. But some problems, if we are not able to solve, it should not hurt your self-esteem. It should not hurt you that I could not do this. Leave apart. Some of the problems cannot be solved. You can leave them. Let others do it. You concentrate more at that time on your career, education, family, professional life, or personal. You can do that. Avoiding is one more strategy which we can use, the second one. Third strategy is, you can call it as self-control. Friends, let me tell you, we should buy time. Take a time little bit out of in a situation which is new for you and which is creating stress, so that you can think on it. It can be thinking for 15 minutes, it can be thinking for 30 minutes. You should take out and buy time to think on it so that you can control the situation. Don't make the situation control you. You should be able to control the situation, because in a hurry you may take wrong decisions. So to avoid that, buy time. Take little bit time. Take little bit space so that you can see all the perspective of the situation, and then you take a proper decision. In a hurry, or just because the situation is more pressurized, it may create stress. So controlling the situation through self-control is more important. When you think again after giving time, you can see the other perspective, that if I accept this particular responsibility or work, it can add to my resume. It can improve my chances of promotion. It can even give me better prospects of leadership. So this can happen. The third one is self-control and buying time for it. The fourth is very important. That is triple S. Social support and sharing. Social support and sharing. Whenever we are in problem, whenever we are in stress, whenever something new is there as a problem, and we are not able to find a proper solution to it, take support of your friends, colleagues, neighbors, your brothers, your family members. You can share their problems. Take their support and share. One more important part is sharing. You should share problems. Don't think whether it is a small problem or whether it is a huge one, or whether it is very simple, or whether it is very common, or whether it is more complicated, and how should I share. Share it. Nothing will happen, nothing will come into the paper that a person has shared his problem with other one. No. Sharing problems relieves you from the stress little bit, because you have shared the problem. But second thing important is, you get the other person's perspective. Our perspective may be polluted, but the other person who is not in that situation may see it more clear and more rational. So sharing is more important. A recent example of a celebrity, Sushant Singh Rajput, if he could have shared his problem that day in the morning with any of his friends, maybe celebrity, or at home with his family members, he could not have done suicide, or the thing, what step he has taken. Sharing is more important. So to avoid that, we should have some kind of a social support. It can come from anybody around you, or share the problems, share your thoughts, share what you're feeling at that moment, share your emotions. If you need to cry, please cry, but express your emotions to someone who is close to you and who can understand you better. The fifth strategy which we can use to manage stress is accept responsibility, or a new post, or a new promotion, with new responsibilities. Accept it. Now let me tell you very frankly and very bluntly, the biggest enemy a person has is he himself, no other person. We are the biggest hurdle in our career, in our thinking. Can I do this project? Can I do this leadership? Can I take up this new responsibility? Let me tell you one more thing, friends. Our boss, our colleagues, our friends understand us better than we. Therefore, they are always giving us assignments and responsibilities. They know that you can do it. We are hesitant about ourselves, but they have understood us better that he can do it or she can do it. So let him give this opportunity. Let us give him this new job. So that is more important, that whenever you go for a particular thing, that you can accept responsibility related to this. The sixth one, you can call it as accepting responsibility will not only add more work, more time, but you will also get some new communication skills to learn, new technical skills to learn, new soft skills, new life skills to learn, because this is the responsibility which you are not taken before. So these are the things which can add, these skills are getting added to your resume. So that is the advantage of getting or accepting new responsibility. The sixth strategy which we can see is problem solving. Some problems are traditional, so their solutions are also very traditional. They are quite in a structured way. You can solve this problem in this particular manner. The process is there. You can go about it and solve problems. Some of the problems which create stress because these problems are non-traditional. They are creative, they are different, and they are new. As we are seeing in the corona period now. It's a new virus. We are trying to find out how to deal with and finding new medicines and vaccines about it. In the same way, problems which are new, you have to think very creative and very differently towards it. Some problems take time to solve. If you give more time to it, it can get solved. It can be done. Let me give an example from a management books which I have read recently. In a house, a quarrel was going on between two sisters on a single orange. They both wanted the orange and nobody wanted to share it. It was evening time, night time, therefore the markets were closed. But the sisters were not ready to share it. So there was quite a bit quarrel going on in the house. The father thought of talking with both the sisters separately to find out their needs, why they need that orange. And when he talked with both the sisters separately, he came to know that both of the needs of the sisters are different with the same fruit, orange. One of the sisters wanted only the peel of the orange. The other sister wanted the pulp of the orange. So when we talk with both the parties, conflicts can be solved by negotiation or by understanding the needs of other parties. So problems and conflicts can be solved if you think in a very different way and applying various communication skills to it. Next strategy we can see is it is related to which is called flight. Flight is running away or avoiding the situation. As I told you before, we can't solve a particular situation, therefore we try to avoid it. We run away from the situation. If you have not used all your weapons, then you try to avoid that situation which you are facing. Flight situations which can be helpful when the problems are not able being solved by using whatever resources you have. But there is a caution. Don't feel hurt about it that I'm not able to solve it. As I told you previously, we are not superhuman beings. Let others do it. You have used all your resources and all your intelligence. If it is not done, fine, leave it. Then you have one more, eighth one, which we can see as a managing stress is accept the challenge. Some responsibilities, some new jobs, some promotions, some leadership come with challenge. We'll have to give more time, more dedication, and learn some more things. Let us test your intelligence. Let us test your knowledge, what you have learned in college. Let us test the skills you have and accept the challenge. Let us think in this way, what is impossible for me? Let me do it. Let me give it as a very hard try. And if I can do it, it can bring a huge change in my career or in my life. And I would learn something new which nobody else has done, accepting the challenge. These are the 8 different ways of managing stress. Let us come to the last part, the 5th part of this lecture, that is related to role of teachers in counseling their students for their effective performance. Now, teachers do play their teaching role quite well most of the time, and they do counseling also. I'm not saying they are not doing, they do, because as you go on teaching, you have to talk with students. But in this period, what we are experiencing now, this corona pandemic period, we have to discuss and talk with our friends, with our students more. We should understand that our students, and we should make them understand that these students are very unique. Tell them that you are unique, you are very much special, because everyone has a different background, everyone has different strengths, some weaknesses. Some are from literate families, some are from illiterate families, some are from business background, some are from agricultural background, some are doing education only for the namesake, some actually are doing education just because they want a particular job at any cost, or they want to go for computer exams. So you have to give them and tell the students that it is important to tell them that they are unique. Second thing is counseling to them in such a way that develop a rapport with them. How to develop it? Develop it with frequently talking with them, communicating on phone or having a WhatsApp communication with them. If you keep a communication frequently with them, they develop confidence in you and they start sharing their problems with you. The problems may be related to education, may be related to financial issues, family issues, court issues, agriculture point of view. Problems can be many. Personal problems can be there. Problems related to which medium, not having a command on English or Marathi or any other language. These problems they start sharing with you. When they start sharing, this is the point where you can come up with your counseling skills or tips. You can start suggesting him, helping him, encouraging him, motivating him to do a particular thing. Friends, one more thing we should remember is counseling to students in such a way that they should be independent to do it. Don't make them dependent on you. Your counseling should be in such a way that they should solve their problems themselves, but you should suggest certain directions, certain path, so that they don't get stuck up somewhere, or they don't get frustrated somewhere. So these are the counseling tips which you can use so that you can make them independent. Teamwork. While doing counseling, tell them the importance of teamwork, working in groups, working in people. Be ready to work in people. Be ready to work in groups, in projects. This will help you not only in college time, but let me tell you, it will also help you whenever you go outside and wherever you're working always with people around us. We are very few hours in our life, in a particular day also, that we spend it very personal. Most of the time, we are with people, either with family members or the professional life with other people around us. So the importance of teamwork should be told to them. If you tell them, their adjustment and adaptation capacity increases, and that helps them to work better in teamwork, in any team, for example. Which I would like to share is leadership. Give them the importance of leadership. Let me tell you, very few people or students go for leadership. They have certain fear about it, that additional responsibility may come, additional time I have to give, how to manage people, how to control a group, who will listen to him or not. These are various questions arise. If you tell them that leadership, if you accept new challenges, it helps you to understand other people better. It helps you to understand your strength more better. And working in a group will add certainly new skills to your resume and to your behavior or to your personality, for example. Your personality can become more dynamic if you accept the responsibility of a leadership. Tell them the importance of leadership. While counseling your students, also see that you give him a particular goal. A goal can be short-term goal, like participating in an online competition, or it can be a long-term goal related to a career. If it comes to career, give him options. Option 1, option 2, like we call it plan A and plan B. Give him options. If you give him goal, his behavior becomes very much directed towards a particular goal, and his whole concentration, energy is using there. So that is more important when you counsel your students. Give him a particular goal to do. It can be a small competition online, or it can be related to a career and how it's going to affect or support his career. One more thing which we should do is motivation. Students, as we require motivations, obviously students also. Students can be motivated by giving prizes, certificates, appreciation letters or appreciation on WhatsApp, a call from your boss or principal to the student. It can motivate him, encourage him to do more, keeping constant contact with them so that you can motivate and talk with them initially. Motivation is important. One more thing which we can do regarding counseling is related to adding skills apart from degrees and diplomas which we learn traditionally. Tell them that these skills will help them not only to enhance their personality and resume or their biodata, but it will surely help them in their future too, in their personal and professional life. Life skills can be added, soft skills can be added, technological skills can be added, some technical skills you can learn, some communication skills you can learn. These skills surely add, and we should tell students that during the college period, when you're graduation or you're doing diplomas or you're achieving a degree, in that process you have to learn these skills so that whenever they face an interview, they can use these skills to them, and they can show how better a person I have become, not only with the degrees. The last thing which I would like to share is learning and relearning. Tell your students that we learn a particular course in a particular time period. Let it be of 5 years, whatever we learn. But let me tell you, friends, we have to update our knowledge, and therefore, for example, of 5 years, after 5 years, the syllabus may have been updated, some of them may have been outdated. So you have to again learn. So relearning, learning continuously is also important. Adding to your updated knowledge to you is more important. Therefore, learning and relearning is a process which he has to do continuously. A degree which is useful 10 years before may not be useful after 10 years. You have to update it more and to learn something additional to it. So these are some of the counseling tips which our teacher can use so that he can improve his students' performance and make it performance more effectively. Thank you. This is all I wanted to share with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.